Hello, how's it going? It's April 30th, 9:40 a.m. Vlog. 9:40. I kind of got to sleep a little late. I was kind of sitting around here until like 12:30. So I got like 8 hours of sleep or something, 9 hours of sleep. I I'm still tired, dude, from day before yesterday when I came out here and I did just like a little bit of lifting, man. Yeah. So it's good. So this is what my gym looks like, dude, and I could be freaking occupied in here until the end of time, dude. First trying to get in shape with this, and then I got my little ball there. I got my little, there's the kick, by the way, the kicking. And then there's this a power sensor on his back. At least I think it's still there. I tried to glue it on. Oh look, it's still there. The glue still holds. All I did was glue it on rubber and Gorilla Glue. Yeah. And then I've got my workout room, you know, with the bike. The bike in there, and the treadmill, and the rower, and the swimming machine, and the bench, yeah, with the barbell. Yeah, so I don't even have to go. I'm only gonna go into the gym, dude, when I go in there with my mom, or maybe after I'm fit. But anyways, yesterday I kind of ran around all day long trying to figure out my car, and then I came back because I finally figured out that I can't put a motorbike, even an electric bike, on the back. Not the one that I have. I could put like a 250-pound electric bikes on the back, or something like that. The Aria had, and I had no idea. I should have asked ChatGPT, but the Aria has a 150-pound limit from that. If I had just known that, because I had to send back the motorbike, which cost me $75. The motorbike rack, the bike rack, the adapter, and then I bought a bike rack that fits 1.25, and so then I'm like, okay, the only way I'm gonna be able to cart this motorbike around, and I really want to cart this motorbike around, like I have to cart this motorbike around, is if I put it in, either get a trailer or put it in the actual car. So I looked into trailers, and there's one for $3,600, because if I get a trailer, it has to be something I can fit in the garage with my car. And then I also have to call my homeowners and see if I'm even allowed to store it there, because I'd have to convince them that when I park them together, you know, my car's not going to push out. I did look last night, and if I put them together, I think my car would push out about as much as the car next to it. There's this like BMW SUV next to me that this guy parked next to me, and I saw him actually yesterday for the first time. Looks like he's maybe my age or something. Indian dude. But it parks out about as much as my car would after that, I figured. Because I looked, I have one more foot I could drive back before I bump into my garage door. And then that thing is like, and then that would give me like, I think it was 2.5 feet. Until I was poking out as much as that guy who gets away with it. Because he doesn't pull back all the way. Because his car's kind of big. So maybe if I do the trailer all the way to the end, and then my car like literally bumping on the trailer, I'd stick as much as him, and maybe I get away with it. But anyway, last night I tried to put the bike in the car, and then I went to work because it didn't work. I tried to put the bike in the car handlebars first, and then I was going to do it butt first, but I realized it's so hard because it doesn't fit that if I'm even going to try it, I need to take the pedal off. And I was over at work by taking the crank off, and I was at work, and I was like, you idiot, you moron. See, I keep going into these thinking that I need to do something opposite, and then finding out it doesn't work. I'm like, you retard, like, why didn't you just take the pedal off? Because I couldn't take the crank off because I couldn't find my crank remover. So I was like, you moron, why don't you just take the pedal off? That's all you need. So I came back, I'm like, let's take the pedal off and put it in. But then I took one look at it and I was like, oh no, you do want to take the crank off. Like even having the pedal off would make it a gazillion times easier, and probably maybe just as easy as putting it in with the crank off. But the problem is that bike is like 135 pounds, I think. And if it's sitting in the back of my car and bouncing around and stuff on that crank, it's gonna bend the crank. And it's gonna bend it more and more. If I do that a lot, it's gonna bend it so much that when I ride the thing, it could bend so far in, it's gonna bump, it's gonna hit something. It's gonna be deformed and not even work, or it's gonna be annoying. And so if it's just as easy, if you have the tool to take the crank off instead of just the pedal, then do that. So then I realized again, I was like, oh right, I was gonna take the whole crank off. So I bought this piece. I thought I had it, but I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere. So I bought this piece for $5 to take it off, the tool, which luckily comes in the mail today. So, yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do until then, because I'm kind of not motivated, you know, unless it's working out. So I'm just going to sit here and work out. And plus I worked today. I wasn't supposed to, but I worked today from 2 to 4. And, which is only like the next block over. It's like a 5-minute walk. So, I read with a 93-year-old lady and play cards with her. And, we play Crazy Eights. Yeah, when I get my, when I get that crank remover, whenever it is today, I'm gonna monitor. I'm gonna go right over to my mom's house. I'm gonna pick that up and some other things that I bought. I saw some stuff online that I didn't have already, like home workout stuff. Like I got this thing where you do pull-ups holding on to these little round balls, and then the thing where you twist it and it moves the weight up and down. I didn't have one of those. And then I got weighted ankle, which I thought I had. Maybe I do somewhere, I just forgot. Weighted ankle weights, right? So I can do leg ups with them. That'll be fun. See, working out at home is really convenient when you're out of shape like me, because you can get a lot of benefit from these light dumbbells and like the leg ups and the sit-ups and stuff. Yeah, and just do perfect form, high rep, and that's all I need right now. That's how wrecked I am. I wrecked myself to hell. Like big time. And another thing that I realized was that all of the links on my Google Earth on my website are fucking broken. It was like, Jesus. So I'm going to have to like dedicate a whole 12-hour night shift to just fixing my links. The links used to break for my Google Earth stuff literally all the time in the past, because the servers that I had would delete all my stuff. Like I had a server called something which sucked. So then my mom had iPower. So I got on iPower because she was on iPower. But then iPower started just deleting all my stuff. Like they say they give you 20 gigs, so you take 20 gigs. And then they delete all your gigs, and they tell you that they deleted it because like apparently you don't have 20 gigs. What they meant was you in the pool of like people you're in, like you and they didn't say how many, like so you and the 1,000 other people that you're in like the category of the P's or something. You all collectively get 20 gigs. And they tell each person gets 20 gigs because, in their opinion, nobody's actually going to use the 20 gigs. They're just going to put like their face up and use like 0.00 whatever. And so if one person comes around and uses 20 gigs, no biggie. But I came around and used my 20 gigs. And I didn't even use 20 gigs. It was like 5 gigs, take 5 or 10. And then they're like, oh, look, there's somebody using up gigs. Delete all their stuff. So they just straight up lied. And that's not literally how they explained it to me. I called once, and there was this lady who was an absolute cunt bitch. I should have chewed her out, but I wasn't really in the mood at the time. But she was like, yeah, so what? And all this kind of shit. And I was like, fuck this place. So I went to some other one that was way better, but then they started deleting. So I had to move from them, and I don't remember which one it was. So I moved from them after they deleted my Google Earth stuff a bunch of times for the same damn reason to So then I Googled and I'm like, which is the one that's just has the best customer service? I need customer service. I'm not going to deal with bitchy people. And in fact, I don't even talk to anybody on the phone with the one I'm with now. It's all on email, but they answer my emails and they fix stuff. And it's called SiteGround, or was SiteGround one of the ones? SiteGround was one of the ones I was on before I had to move. I had to mosey over to the one I'm in now. I could show you right now because all I have to do is click on one of these Google Earth. So here's my Google Earth. Number one, these aren't even linked. Like I'm mousing over it, it's not even freaking linked. This is, but these aren't. So that means I never linked it. Here's my fauna. Let's see what that does. So all that does is take it to the page because I don't have the, maybe that's where all of the, see, I need to even look at this. I can't even look at it. All right, fine. So those are the ghost towns. I'm just going to click on something. Okay, so look. See, literally none of the links work. None of them. I don't understand. So this one's called Glowhost. And so Glowhost gave me like 20 gigs or something. And then they deleted a bunch of my stuff too. All of my Google Earth stuff. And I wrote them, I'm like, what's the deal with deleting my Google Earth stuff? And they said, oh, you can't use your website as a storage to like store files and stuff. I'm like, files? Like, what do you mean? Like porn? Like child videos growing up? Like, what do you mean? Like backup music? What the fuck are you talking about? Store files. And I explained to him, I'm like, dude, I have Google Earth files. I Google Earth the whole world. I Google Earth all of Rome. I Google Earth every single city, historic city that ever was. I Google Earth all of their walls. I Google Earth like 3 or 4 walls per city as they grow. I Google Earth all of the animals in Rocky Mountain National Park, Boulder County. All the different trips from history. Atlantis. When you Google Earth all of history, when you redraw it, number one, it takes years and years to do that. You take up space. They're called KMZ files. Google Earth KMZ, and they're huge. Like my Italy file was more than 2 gigabytes. Okay, I had every single city actually of Italy on there from Roman times, and all of the Roman roads traced not by line but by polygon. So you have the exact weight of the road. So as you're zooming in, you can see the road go up at the exact width of the road. And I'm like, so you don't delete. It's part of the website. And I got mad and I was like, dude, don't start. If you guys delete something and I lose something permanently, like I might come after you. Like, don't fuck with me, dude. Like, it might piss me off. Well, literally what I said was, if somebody can spend 20 years working on something that nobody cares about, imagine what that person would do to you if they decided that they didn't like you. Give me 100 gigabytes. And they didn't respond to me. At least I don't think they did. I didn't even look. But they gave me 40 gigabytes. And I'm now at like 35 gigabytes. And since then, like if I were to check, every time I look, I still have the 40 gigabytes. At least I looked only recently, like a month ago. Because I had to go in there to, when I got my new computer. Yeah, this wasn't a month. It was like 5 months ago. When I had to go in there to look at to look at the code to do the uploading from the, because there's all this code you have to do to upload it right. I went on there to find it, and I looked at my my storage, and it said 40, so they hadn't taken away again. So that's just another example, because this is what I said over and over from all those other websites. This is another goddamn example of how fucking stupid this generation is, like how stupid people are. Like, I got kicked out of school for being a retard. My mom tried to, I got kicked out of 4th grade because I couldn't learn the rules for Dungeons and Dragons, and it wasn't even part of school. This was just the kids in the playground. I was like, didn't want to do it because you're supposed to play when you're outside. And so I got kicked out by the kids, not by the teachers. So so then I moved into another school, and then I almost got held back after the 6th grade to have to do 6th grade twice or 7th grade twice because the teachers thought I was a retard. Because the 6th grade teacher thought I was a retard because I didn't listen to her. because I was looking out the window as all the kids are gathering. And I guess if you look out the window, that makes you stupid. It makes you smart because you're bored. And then in the 7th, so then I had to go into the remedial class in 7th grade where I got harassed by this retarded kid. Because there's only 3 of us in there. So I was the top 3 stupid kids of the whole school. But one of them was this Korean kid who was like, he was in there just to learn English. So I was the top 2 retarded kids, according to the teachers. And then I don't get into CU for being retarded because I get kicked out of chemistry. Because that's all they care about is chemistry, because I wasn't testing high enough because I was like bored off my head by then. Even though I showed up every day on time. So then I have to go to Fort Lewis, and then I get kicked out of Fort Lewis for being an idiot, apparently for not knowing how to write. Which I did fine. There's this idiot named Joseph Lounge, look him up. He got fired since then. Now he has some bullshit job for like Kaplan Academy or something. Illiterate idiots everywhere you turn. That's illiterate morons. So you got the stupidest people. And then I got fired last year for apparently being too retarded because I got a job at Avid for Adventure mountain bike coaching, and it was all these like 20-year-old kids who were like clicked up, right? So they didn't want to talk to me. It was just me and these 2 other older guys. And then like in the morning, there was one more day for training. It was like the recap training. This fucking idiot pays us for a week. This guy's Dave Secunda, Avid for Adventure. There's no way he makes money with that. He made money with this other app he made and ended up making way too much money, and then he tries to pretend he makes money with his Avid for Adventure, where he hires third worlders from like all these third world countries to come here just for the season to like guide little kids around mountain bikes. And then they go just for seasonally. And then so people like me can't even get hired doing that kind of stuff. Somebody did try to hire me doing that after that, but I had already got my other job. But anyway, they send me a text going, because this is like education. And I realize the people in education are like so fucking far left. Their brains are literally oozing out of their ears. Like they kept saying like we were living on stolen land. And then we had to say it. Like that's part of the presentation to the kids about how we're all on stolen land. Like, Jesus Christ. And then we all had to say he, she. I'm a he. Even though I'm obviously a he, I had to say it out loud. Whenever I said to anybody and introduced myself, I had to say I'm Kyle, you refer to me as a he. And then, yeah, and he made sure to hire, of course, there were a few trannies there. And I don't have a problem with trannies or gays. But but we're like accommodating so much to them that even normal people like me they thought I was retarded, because then there was one more day and I got a text saying, oh, hi, this is Melissa, and this is some name I'd never heard ever. Tomorrow, well, I guess it wasn't, yeah, I think it was even tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll take half of the kids and then you can take the other half, okay? And I looked at it and I was like, I was like, so I don't know who the fuck that got my number or how they knew I was with Avid for Jennifer, it wasn't the next day, but it was in like a couple of days I was going to do this car thing. And I respond, I'm like, okay, talk to you tomorrow. Cause tomorrow was a day we were going to do some like overall, like the recap thing. And I'm like, if this is not a prank, and I was going to show it to everybody, but if this isn't some kind of thing, cause like, why would somebody pop out of nowhere and then divide kids into 2 cars, because we only had 1 car. I didn't like ignore them or explain the whole thing. I was like, all right, talk to you tomorrow. And I kept on watching the person. And then I go take a leak and I go back to the car, and the lady, she's all looking at me all crazy like this. Because I think she was so far left, she thought that I was an evil piece of shit, right? Because I like talk and stuff. I mean, look at my website, dude. See, the website doesn't mean anything to these people. It means nothing. She's like, you're fired, you're terminated. If you want to find out, call HR. And she had the other guy with her, like they needed to protect each other or something. So I'm like, okay. She gave me my check for the week, but not for the whole like 2 weeks or like whole week worth of work I had to do before that. All this other shit I had to do, the certifications and this and that I wasn't getting paid for at all. So I walked back. I told the guy I was supposed to work with I got fired, and he's like, what? And that guy was way, way left-wing, dude. But we still got along, because he at least had mutual respect. Because those people that go so far left, they don't even have mutual respect. Like, I was like a monster. So I went back to the car, and I was like about to get in. She's like, hey, I need the manual. And I was like, all right. So I got the manual out, and she was doing this. Like, she couldn't make eye contact with me. I gave it to her, and I was like this. And she's like, and then like storms off. And these are like fake ass bitch who are like, you know, or the kids of the parents of the kids who do the bike camps. And those were the stupidest ass fucking bike camps. You're supposed to like follow me up and down the bike path. Like I did a bike camp when I was 11 with a bunch of kids who weren't even bike racers, just random ass kids. And we rode our bike from Boulder all the way up to the mouth of Left Hand Canyon and back, like halfway to Lyons. Like that's way beyond what these little kids these days are doing. Up and down like trails for like no more than maybe 5 miles for the whole thing because they stop so much. And his acronyms were so retarded. Like I couldn't figure out this motherfucker's acronyms because you have to do everything's an acronym because you have to memorize the acronym because you have to become the fucker's slave and not think for yourself and learn his acronyms. And like one of them was what could happen, because you have to stop every time you stop at a road and look back. What could happen? And then you go, because it's one of the acronyms, H for happen. What could go wrong? What could happen? What could go wrong? Then kids are just going to say what could go wrong and what could go happen, and then what could go wrong and what could go wrong. You should say what could go right, what could go wrong. Anyways, whatever. They don't give a fuck. I'm a moron. So I think what happened was according to this stupid bitch, I failed the test. They were probably like, this guy's retarded. We saw his website. He said something about Atlantis and shit. I think he's retarded. Larry, let's do a retardation test. And so they sent me the test. Send him a text and say that we're going to meet him tomorrow with a second car. And if he says okay, then that means he's so stupid that he's going to allow the kids to get kidnapped by the mafia. They're going to come in a separate car and take half of the kids, and he's just not going to know because he's a retarded man. The white man. And I was like, that's probably what they were thinking. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways, that was an aside. But that's just an example of how... And then on top of that, I'm like, yo, I have a fucking website, dude. I've got stuff that you would know. And then like a couple years ago, that remind me, like 10 years ago, this is like, people don't mess around with me anymore. Unless I mess with them on their websites. Like, I don't get fucked with anymore, but now I'm starting to be the one who does the fucking. Like, I went on this guy's website, but I didn't go back there to read the comments because I wasn't in the mood to go to war, but I think I will eventually. His name is Robert John Langdon, and he attacked me on Facebook for telling people where Atlantis was, and the stupidest way, he's just saying dullard over and over again. So I think he's just an AI bot, and he has a friend named Lucas Laubley who is attacking me. And that guy might be an AI bot. Yeah, I attacked that motherfucker on his channel. I said, bitch, you don't get to say that Atlantis is where you're saying it is. Because we're having like a feud. He says he knows where it is. I say I know where it is. I'm like, you don't get to do that. Stop saying that. Stop uploading these videos. And then I commented on all the people who commented on his video. And I said, this guy, I already had a conversation with him. He called me a dullard a bunch of times, and then he skedaddled. And he deleted the whole fucking conversation. Because one thing that happens, one thing that I've noticed in life, is nobody likes me. That's why I don't have any friends. Nobody's ever liked me. So I've been in a lot of like arguments with people, because then they finally blow up and they decide that they hate me and they tell me why. Dude, every fucking time I ever get in an argument that's about me, like somebody has a problem with me and I'm just in defense mode, every single goddamn time, they like turn around and leave like when I'm mid-sentence. And then they never talk to me about anything ever again. Because you can't argue with me, dude. If you have 30 or 40 IQ points below me, you're not gonna make any sense, man. You're gonna say crazy shit like crazy shit that I can't even imagine. Like there's this one person 10 years ago. They go, hey, you want all this help for your website, but then you go around and I can't remember what they said, but then you go around and you talk about weed. Or but you go around and your hair's all messy. Why would anybody help you? And I was like, and I remember thinking to myself, you want help with your project? Like that it's not my it's like you would have to be so dumb to not realize that that's not my project. Like my project, okay, just to correct you, would be something like, I'd like to be a commenter on YouTube. You know, I'm doing something that everybody else does, right? I'm like trying to enter into the fold of a certain industry. Like I want to be another like left-wing commentator, or I want to make artwork. Look at my artwork, right? I'm just another person. What I'm doing on YouTube has never been done. right? I'm the only person doing it, like Google Earthing history, making a timeline like mine, or putting all the history books. And I could go on and on and on and on and on and on, like the conceptual stuff. But like a classic book on one page with all the images on the side, I mean, I could just go on and on. I built it because it doesn't exist. And obviously, like I thought when I first started making it, obviously people would, maybe not the retarded people who can't read, only because they can't read, but if you're human, you would know. You go, oh, right, this is what humans need. Like, this is the next step in what humans would want. Like, the book online. No. People are dumb. That's my project. It's for my use only, because nobody is interested. And obviously, why would anybody be interested in a book online? And I guess the reason that they would think is because they're already there. Really? Have you seen what's already up there? It's barely readable. Like, you have to click to get to the next page. You can't scroll on any. I'm the only one you can do that with. If you do right click, text to speech, it's going to read over all of the footnotes and all of the side notes. So that's not going to work. You know, you can't get distracted with, like the way that Wikipedia doesn't even work right. You can't do text to speech with fucking Wikipedia like you can with my site, because it reads the captions on the images on the side. My website doesn't do that, even though it has captions on the side with images, because they're all in the images. And like I could like, anyways, and then I do vlogs every single day where I'm describing what I'm doing for the people. And people are like, what? Who? What's a web thingy? And so that's how you can get into a world. We have a website like mine, you talk about it every day, and then all you get, the only sign of life you get from anybody is I'm just going to delete all of your Google Earth files off of your server, because like we don't let people serve their personal stuff. My personal stuff, like, oh my God. I Googled Earth Rome, the city of Rome. Like, wouldn't somebody want to know a 3D map of Rome? And you know what would make me really mad, and it hasn't happened yet, but it has happened in a lot of ways, like with historical stuff. Like once I was hanging out with my brothers, and my brother starts talking about this history video he watched on YouTube where how like the Indians were really violent against the white people or something like that. And isn't that interesting? And it's like, you're talking about history? I remember thinking that, like, because he never had a single comment about anything I ever said about history ever in my whole life. Like, no, never went to my website, refuses to look at it, never said anything about it. Once I talked about how this interesting thing in the Irish Book of Invasions, about how they're talking about how they actually came from Ukraine, and they were talking about the Black Sea, and that's like 2,500 years ago. Isn't that interesting? And they weren't even listening to me. They were like eating, like, when's this guy gonna shut up? And all of a sudden, my brothers. So if like my brothers, God, I don't hang out with them anymore, but if like somebody who I'm supposed to hang out with, or my brothers or whatever, or my mother were like, hey, I really saw this interesting thing. Somebody made a digital 3D model of Rome, how it was. You should look at it. Aren't you interested in history, Kyle? I'd be like, bitch, I already made that. Have you ever looked at mine? Of course not. Like, why? Why would you not do that? Anyways, yeah, and then I could go on and on. I think I'll stop. I don't write people off. I only write people off individually if they do something completely insane. And then I can't. Like, I had a cousin who came a few years ago, and, like, my mom goes, hey, you, anyway, he just, like, looks up, he goes, get a job. And I was like, if I get a job, I won't work on my website. And then he goes back to his computer. And he never, like, and he never said anything to me ever before. And it's like, so I need it, like, he has no idea about my money. Like, I had plenty of money at the time. And I was like, and then my mom, though, when he said that, my mom goes, yeah, you need to get a job. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, what? So, yeah, it's crazy. Like, if nobody has a website, I guess I'm not allowed to have a website in your mind. So, which is sketchy, because then that could turn into, it's okay for them to reduce my memory. And of course, you could forget about me ever getting any donation money. Look at my donation stuff. But like, they're going to take away my memory, and then I don't have space unless I pay them $1 zillion, and nobody's going to help me with that. And then they'll just take my website away. Like, hey, guess what? They made a rule, no websites allowed. Just like in the Russia, because it's like we're like stressed out about the terrorists or something like that. And then that's it. There you go. They illegalized websites because nobody made one. As the whole time I was making one, nobody acknowledged there was one. So anyways, that's why I'm freaked out. That's why I'm going to look in and see, because this is like a recurring theme. Like, I fix my links. Like, when I first built those, I would have fixed the links. I'm not 100%. Not 100%. But I would have definitely had a lot of links fixed. And then when I figure out the links are broken, that's when I fix them. And then they're supposed to be fixed. And then when I go and I give a tour of my website, they're supposed to be working. Like, nothing's supposed to change in there. It's not like goblins can get in. Unless, of course, my server deletes all that stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer because I really wanted to get the Mahabharata up by, like, in a week. You know, like maybe 3 more 12-hour shifts, I could get all of the Mahabharata images on Flickr for you to see, which I would think is like one of the top most interesting things I could think of looking at, okay? It's not looking at reruns of 80s sitcoms or watching another pundit, because now the pundits, dude, the news pundits, I don't even know what the fuck's going on in the news. I want to do a video about it. But the left-wingers, they start to lie. They say shit, and then like, we're all getting our ass kicked in the Iran war. And then you get, like, army people who are like, yeah, we just wiped out the whole... And it's like, who's fucking even saying anything? How did I come up with that? Well, when the world's like that, one thing I'll say is when the world is like that, when you do say stuff that you're serious... Nobody takes you seriously. Like if I say, hey, Atlantis is over there, they'll be like, oh, that's another crazy person saying whatever. The world is flat or something like that. But anyway, what I was going to say was, oh man, did I lose my train of thought? Oh no. Oh no. Anyway, I'll just back up if I get back on track. So, I am, oh yeah, right. If I could think of the most amazing thing you could possibly see online, it wouldn't be all this other stuff, you know, or like stuff that, you know, people are talking about ancient discoveries and stuff, but then they're not, and a lot of that stuff is like interesting. There's something under a mountain in like Russia I was looking at, but like out of everything, and you know, you could talk to some like AI billionaire about how he's afraid AI is going to take over the world, or all this gloom and doom stuff. Okay, like Peter Zeihan, he's smart and stuff, but then talking about how there is no China, and then there will be no China in 20 years. Like that's just way too impossible. Like, come on, come back to Earth. But anyways, there's all sorts of interesting things. Out of anything interesting I can think of looking at, one of the most interesting thing I can think of is if AI were to illustrate with, you know, images, drawing out the art, and little captions of like all the history books, I'd want to look at that because I'd want to know how smart AI is, and it would actually, not just that, but just for my own pure benefit of learning history, like you could learn the book from looking at the images. And I say this kind of stuff all day, every day. And I'm still learning at it now, you know, and the amazing, like, concepts they make from, like, religious concepts and the art they make. I mean, it's amazing, and I'm, like, fascinated every time I look at it, and so I'm like, get that up online for everybody to see. No. People, no. In fact, I'll show you. Yeah, people don't seem to give a shite. Like, it's like, well, I don't know what AI... So then, then the problem is if you don't use AI for what it's supposed to, then they use it for, like, funny videos, the slop, and then people get mad at AI. Why don't you get mad at the slop makers and then use AI for what it was supposed to be used for? So I have a Flickr, and I'll click on my Flickr here. So this is my... these are all the images from Livy, and you get to know what AI knows about history. You know what they know about their clothing and their houses and everything. You know, like if I go to Livy here, I'll just show you real quick. Like the first 3 chapters, the links on Livy are broken, so I have to go down here. But like the first 2 chapters on Livy already have them on there. Like you can look at it. You can even click on that and it makes the whole thing big. So that is what I call fucking interesting, dude. But I still have yet to align my interests with anybody else. This ain't interesting to other people. It ain't interesting to my mother. I can't get her to look at it. Yet I'm the retard. That's the whole point. I was always kicked out of school. I was the guy who kicked out of school, and I couldn't get a job. I finally got that Avid for Adventure job, but I wasn't getting a job, and luckily, I think I got lucky. Well, I was trying to get the job I have now for years and years. I was putting in my application into these 2 buildings anyway, half dozen times over the course of the last 10 years, and they just never wanted to hire me. And then they finally, I don't think I got hired from that application. What I should have done was found out who the HR or whatever hiring person was for them and sent them a direct email or whatever. But I found it through Indeed. I applied in Indeed. They hired me last year before the Avid for Adventure lunatics hired me. And then I quit because they hired me because I was like, hey, let me do this summer job real quick because I want to get in shape. But then they fucking fire me, which that was the second time that happened. I got hired as a caretaker at another company. But then after I got hired as a caretaker, I got hired as like a trainer for something, some like machine. But then I actually got hired, but then they fired me. Like maybe they looked at my website, decided I'm retarded, just like all the teachers did. And then I went and tried to get hired back on the caretaker, but they didn't even return my call at that point. So I was fucked. I was back to square one. So then the same thing happened with this company. I got fired from the Avid for Adventure, and I went back and I'm like, hey, you hired me like 2 months ago, remember? And she's like, no, we're full up, no hiring. And I was like, great, back to square one, because people fucking fire me for no reason, without even doing a single day. And but then she called 3 days later. She's like, oh, we have a spot. So I got lucky, got hired, got a job. So, and the job I have now, I only missed 1 shift. It was a 15-minute dog walking shift because I must have been tired or something. And I've never been late, okay? And I fill in for other people all the time. And I show up, like, clean, dressed well, perfectly combed, short hair. The only thing going against me is I'm a white man. So, I'm just like this. Hopefully I don't get fired because I have expenses now, motherfucker. So anyways, that's why I would never, ever in a million years get any kind of a donation. Ever. I would never get 5 or 10 bucks. I got 10 bucks about, no, I got 20 bucks. These are all my donation sites. I got 20 bucks donated to me, I think on PayPal or something by some guy named Donovan, who's a loan adjuster in Tennessee about 10 years ago. And that's the last time that I got any kind of donation. Because I mix personal website with commercial stuff, because that's how I think things should be, but nobody does that. So if you do something nobody does, then I guess people try to rebel against you. Because I think it brings the fear of God up into people. They're like, oh no, now you're going to try to make me a website. Yeah, fuck yeah, I will try to make you make a website. In fact, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in little bits and pieces. Very, very, it's like a frog boiling type of a situation. I got the idea from Rome. Like when Rome declares war, ancient Rome, in the Roman Republic, they'd first try to talk to somebody, they'd, escalate the communication, and then when they'd finally declare war, they'd throw a bloody spear. Like they dip the tip of a spear into like cow blood or something, and they'd throw it over into the other person's territory, and it would fall in line, so they would have a few days to prepare. So anyways, yeah, like what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bunch of YouTube videos saying how people need to have personal websites, and I'm going to do a bunch of YouTube videos how people in the educational system have to have websites, because the people who they get in the educational system are like the bottom of the barrel. That's why I kept getting kicked out of school, because I had idiots being my teachers. And it's not about the pay, because teachers have great jobs. They get the fucking summer off. Give me a break. And they get the weekends off. I mean, come on. And the teachers I've had, I was in school till I was 23, making me lick butthole. The teachers I had, they had the easiest jobs ever. They never looked at my work. They just mark red all over it with no thought. Like if you have like a sentence that's too short, they'd want to make you have a run-on. If you have a run-on sentence, they'd put a bunch of periods in it and want to make you have it short. They just, if you have any kind of a sense of humor, then they'll rail into you how you're not supposed to have sense of humor when you write. I'm sure teachers aren't like that anymore, because I was dealing with fucking baby boomer pieces of shit who are probably dead by now, or senile, but like, there's no rhyme or reason to anything about how any of the teachers I knew operated. They're retarded. And so, oh my God, I lost track again. I lost track of what I was talking about. Anyways, oh right, I was just saying, like, you know, the same guy who's trying to make people make a fucking website, like, you can't make it. So basically that's what school did. It hypnotized people, brainwashed people into thinking that whatever you do, don't express your opinion. Whatever you do. Like, I remember 30 years ago, it was the baby boomers, maybe the silent generation, people above that. They had a rule, and it was the saying of the first wife of Ronald Reagan. They all had a rule. They said, never ever in public discuss religion or politics. Like at the dinner table, you never discuss religion and politics, right? And so then, because it like causes strife or whatever, because people don't know how to argue correctly, and then it turns into, yeah, don't express your opinions, and then it turns into, hey, let's just elect a totalitarian dictator and then get rid of democracy. Isn't that better? Let's try to be like North Korea and then kill everybody, and then the planet can die. How about that? Die from nuclear war. Yeah, so I will, and then I will, after I make a bunch of videos saying that if you're education, you need to make a website. And when I say make a website, you need to put up a website on the internet, and even if it's a Substack or whatever, but why the fuck not just make a website, like your own design? Whatever, do a Substack. But you have to have somewhere online that says all of your common, and I'll make a list, common, of course I'll do it myself first, but common philosophical and political beliefs. And they have to be up there. If your philosophical and political beliefs aren't in written form and video form on YouTube, on the internet, then that's when I'm coming after your ass. That's when I'm going to call you, and not like, so I'm going to go after the principal of Boulder High, and it's now a black woman. See, now it's all black women on charge of everything. And these are, now I'm a little bit cynical, but these are the people who are probably going to be the absolute least likely to be able to make a website with opinions, because they're the come from belows, you know? And I'm at the point now where I'm thinking they're probably even genetically inferior to me. But yeah, the president of Fort Lewis College is now a Hispanic woman, and the president of Boulder High is a black woman, and I bet you the president of CU is now a black woman. And so, you know, I was gonna do it if it was a white man, because the president of like Fort Lewis 5 years ago was a white man, and then it was another white man. Like, they keep firing the presidents, and now it's a black woman. So every year they get another. So they must be having problems down there. But when I did a video about Fort Lewis, like Fort Lewis is shit, don't go to Fort Lewis. I did 2 like hour-and-a-half long videos. It was a white man who was the president of the school. And, you know, I was sending emails, angry emails to the Durango High, because I get kicked out of there doing student teaching, because the principal there was a white man, right? So it's not like I'm trying to be racist and sexist if I'm going to tell a black woman to make a website. It's just because I'm going after the person in the position. And but what I'm going to do is I'm gonna write that person, whoever it is, when I do it, because it could be a long time. It could be like a decade or 2 decades before I finally get around to doing it, because I have to get my own shit together first. Like, I have to make it all on my website first, and I don't think I've even done that yet, because I don't even have the fucking links on my Google Earth stuff fixed yet. You know, it's like I can't keep up with myself. But when I do catch up with myself, yeah, I'll email them a bunch of times, and then, you know, and this is if they don't finally cooperate with me. You know, you ratchet it up slowly. And then you call them a bunch of times. And then you leave a bunch of messages a bunch of times if they don't answer. And then you give them a bunch of YouTube videos a bunch of times with their name on it. And then you dilute a little bit. So then you not just the president of Boulder High, but then you do the principal of Boulder High. You do the president of these people who have fucked over my life. The president of Fort Lewis. And then I would do the regents of CU and the president of CU, because those are the ones who decided I'm too stupid to go to CU. And so that's plenty of people. And then I could even do all of the teachers in Boulder and all the teachers at Fort Lewis, or all the teachers at CU. I mean, that's a lot of people, right? So you could kind of like mix and match it, like email a bunch of people, just do like a couple hours a day, hour a day or whatever. Email a bunch of people, call a bunch of people, and then you spread it out. You know, if I want to focus on one person because I get ticked off at one person, because if I get like disrespected, that could tick me off. Like the whole, and you know how emotions work. You never know when you're going to get pissed off. And I'm a Capricorn, so it takes, and just my own natural, it takes forever to piss me off. But when you do piss me off, it's like, oh good, because now I can feel it in my bones. It's like my chi. It's like my kundalini and is now about to fucking squash you, like burn you to a fucking crisp just by looking at you. Yeah, if somebody ever pisses me off like that, like threatens me, I'll fucking sue you. Oh, now you done it. I would love to go to court, number one. Please sue me. Because calling people, that ain't illegal, you retard. And I know how dumb, like, lawyers are these days. You could probably find a dumbass lawyer try to sue me just for calling you. So, so yeah, and the goal is make the website, bitch. Or drop out of the school. You know, you just have to stop your job. I'm only going after people in the education industry. But yeah, that's what I'll do. That's how I will communicate with people. Because I don't talk to people. I'm not a communicator. I'm not social. I spend all my time trying to catch up on my own life. That will be my communication. Well, actually in my job, I talk to old people. But you don't really, they're senile. They're all senile, so you don't really talk to them. But you know, back and forth conversations. I will do all that debating and talk to back and forth only under the context of trying to get somebody to make a goddamn website. Which nobody does, by the way. I am going to research, though. I haven't, like, thoroughly researched, like, what people are doing. But, like, what I mean is, like, if you have, like, a Substack, somebody would have, and I haven't really looked at that, they would have their writings, like, that, but they're trying to make money. Like, it's all about trying to make money. They have their writings. They're like a journalist or whatever. They write, but they're writing about, like, current events, right? They're not doing the basic stuff. They're not saying all the basic religious, philosophical stuff. Like, this is my political position, you know, and you have all the different charts. I'm located here on the little graph. I'm located there. This is what I wrote about this. And you could even get ChatGPT to write it. You don't have to write it yourself. Just tell ChatGPT what you think. Have ChatGPT write it. Have ChatGPT read it to you. If you like every single thing ChatGPT said, well, that's what you believe, and put it up. But that is how you keep a democracy, is by having people have opinions. And then they're going to have opinions about everything. And then you know what people think. You could have AI scour the internet, and then they know exactly what everybody thinks, and then you could come up with policy that way. The leaders could come up with policy. And the people who have opinion get to rise to the top instead of fall to the bottom like me. Because I have this website, and like, if you accumulate all my to the average idiot, if you accumulate all my website and YouTube videos, and you tell somebody, hey, look into this Kyle Pounds person for like a day. Just search it. They will come back and they'll be like, oh, no, not him. Why? Oh, because I saw somewhere where he said fuck. You know? It's like, okay, but what about all the stuff? There's like, you will lose a gazillion points for something like dancing in your underwear, but you would only gain about 5 for having a 20-year-old timeline that you've been busting your ass on. I had that actual conversation with somebody. I was working with somebody, and I danced in my underwear. This is in Austin, Texas. This is actually a family member. Don't knock that over, little guy. Oh, man, don't. Sometimes they knock that over on purpose. Wow, she put her whole face in there. Don't knock it over, though. She's the girl, so maybe she won't be as dastardly of a deed to her. Wow, your whole... Look at that. Her whole face. You put her eyes in there. Oh, man, I'm gonna, like... They have 3 water bowls. Oops. They have 3 water bowls, and then they have another water bowl there, and then another one in the other bathroom. And then they have a bunch of those all over the place. But to have fresh water, look at that. They can stick their whole face in. She got her whole head in there. Oh my God, look at that. Wow, holding the breath and everything. Oh, wow. Dude, I'm gonna have those things laying around totally full like that all over the place. Because of how much they love to do that. Like, the problem is if the water falls and it gets in there, it warps my wood floor, so I would only be able to do it. Anyways, what I was saying was, if everybody has opinions like that, they'll know how to think, and then they'll have opinions about everything else, and then we won't have these like flare-ups, you know, like we have to go to the protest with a machine gun, you know, like why not just have a website? Like, I would never feel a need to go to a protest because everybody knows what I think. I have a website and YouTube videos. And imagine if a bunch of people like me with websites, and I'm saying like me, I don't even really have my political and philosophical opinions up on my website. I think I do, but it was like very basic. Like 20 years ago, I wrote it really quick. And then I like bailed, and that was like the first thing, and I never went back there because I just don't have the time. So I'm not going to ask anybody else to do it until I do it myself thoroughly. But if everybody was like me and they had their opinions and everything on the internet, and then they went out to like a physical protest, it wouldn't be like these people angry, like giving these emotional releases, because they'd already given their opinion. They would just be up there being seen. They'd be like smiling, having out with people. It would be like a party, you know? So anyways, I don't know how I got... Oh, yeah, I got onto that huge tangent because like last night I found out about how all of my Google Earth, like none of my Google Earth links work. So, yeah, I would like to finish... my Mahabharata and get that up on there. Oh, that's what I was going to show. So if you go to my... look at the hits. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, look, 10 views. Okay. Okay. Alright, well, that's better than 0. Yeah, it's better than 0. But if you go any farther, like if you go down the line a little bit, you're going to be at 0 hits. So, meaning to say, 7 billion people in the world. This is the only place you're ever going to see AI images of Livy, the history of Rome. And if you click on it, the most fascinating one, well, guess what? 0 hits. Nobody cares, dude. And then I get fired, and nobody's going to give me a penny. Nobody gives a fuck. People are retarded, and I've been watching videos like feminism, women take over, and I don't know, that could be, I didn't really think of it that much, but that could be kind of a thing, because I don't recall ever talking to a woman about history. Women don't care about that kind of stuff. They care about, like, trashing other people, you know, gossip, like makeup or whatever. Like, I want to be a psychiatrist, or, I don't know, weird girly shit. That doesn't mean anything. So then what happens if the presidents of all the schools are fucking women, who got there from probably goofing off, because every woman I ever saw in school goofed off. Yapping, showing up late. The bitch who kicked me out of chemistry in high school showed up fucking 10, 15 minutes late every day. The asshole who kicked me out, Joe Lounge, who kicked me out of Fort Lewis, showed up 10 minutes late every day. Anyways, so if somebody got to their position without having to be an intellectual or whatsoever, just by being far left, like, we robbed the land from the precious ones. Uh-huh. Well, guess what? When you try to ask that person to, like, write something, I don't think it's going to go over really good. I mean, even with me, like, I'm having trouble getting back on my feet with the exercise. You know, stuff gets calcified. You'll forget. Those presidents of this, that, and the next are going to forget how to write, you know. So, and apparently, I guess kids these days can't read any at all. Like the Gen Alpha kids, they can't read because they grew up on like cell phones and stuff. So I don't know. I'm not gonna cross that bridge until I get to it. I'm not one of these like people who like to target and bitch, but I think the best way to change the world is to create an invention that you think everybody should do and just try to get everybody to do that. And then you can get rid of all the like generalizations of certain types of people, ad hominem attacks. Because like if I'm gonna attack you for being the whatever, and you know I'm gonna go after you, because like what I mean is like if I'm gonna call like the president of like Boulder High or whatever, you got to make a website or else you got to quit. And then they're like, fuck off. And then I'll be like, all right. And then I could insult them, get angry, or I could like call their family members. That's what I'm thinking. Calling their family, insult their family members. Just become an asshole. Because it's legal. You know, if I get angry, you know, I would only do it if I actually feel it come coursing through my fucking soul. So, and I'm actually like really chill. So, but if I do feel that, you know, I think the only way that I would feel that if I'm so disrespected that it would actually be good for you, for me to get aggressive like that. And then try to, yeah. Then I think that's the only way we can have a democracy, because, you know, I've seen this problems with like the Muslims, for example. People like to complain about Muslims, but I think they take it into the like fear too much, a little bit too much, you know, like a bunch of Muslim kids gang raping a girl, that doesn't like threaten the fabric of society. What would threaten the fabric of society is if the Muslims get control of the government and they actually manage to pass laws that say like you can't have open a brothel or a bar or a pub next to a mosque because that's against Sharia law. Like when Sharia law starts to go above the actual local laws, native laws that have been around in the country that these Sharia people ran away to, that's when you got to start worrying about stuff. I guess it's starting to happen, you know. And so if like people fight back and then it actually turns into a battle and like people are getting suppressed, yeah, that's when. But if everybody speaks their mind, you know, and then you could fix it all like that. You know, you could fix it with the, oh God, I'm running out of batteries. Anyways, but they have been examples of people moving in and taking over. You know, like Aristotle talked about it once happening. It happened. I wouldn't consider that happening with America because they were so primitive, you know, or like even Africa. But damn, I'm trying to think of something recently where they moved in and then they took over. Oh, you're right. The Goths when they took over Rome. But whatever. We'll talk about that later. I do want to talk about that later. But you can fix it all by having a website and by having opinions. That's all I'm saying. That's how we have the democracy. And the West, like, doesn't have enough of a democracy that we can't really have that moral authority, I think. Like, that's one of the problems over all of these, you know, like Muslims and stuff that are coming over. So you got to make a website. Anyways, I'm going to work out for the rest of the day until I go to work, and then whenever my piece comes in, I'm going to put that motorbike in and see if it can fit in the car with the crank out. And I'm going to put the little spindle axle over that thing so I can slide it, that water bowl, so I can slide it up and down like my my cardboard particle board in my car. And so, yeah, I'm not out of the game yet. I might be able to get that motorbike in the car. So wish me luck, and I'll tell you if I can tomorrow.